For Reaper Metal Productions, I am Adam of Unbaptized Records, making a brand new video for you today. And today's video, I wanted to talk about two demo recordings, two releases that came out this year that are probably two of my favorite releases. Obviously, we're only halfway through the year, but I'm definitely very excited about both of these. And I've been spinning them a lot. They've been sitting in my car ever since I bought them, just about maybe a week and a half ago. And I really enjoy them. I was really glad I picked them up. Both shorter releases, but still pretty good, especially given their demo style recordings. And the first one you've definitely heard of. Actually, you probably heard of both of these, but you know, obviously if you're familiar with this channel, you know J-Dog and Craig and everyone else, Reaper, obviously, Hell's Headbangers. So I'm sure you're already aware, and you probably already own your copy, and that is the Hemorrhage release through Hell's Headbangers called Opera Medica. It's like 5 songs, and it's awesome. So apparently it's like a demo style recording. I guess there's some new Hemorrhage coming out. I think that's what Justin said, but it's coming out through Relapse, I assume. But they offered Justin to do this through Hell's because obviously he's a huge fan of Hemorrhage. Kind of the reason I found out about the band, because I'm a huge Exhumed fan, and they kind of fall into a similar category. So this was awesome. This one has a lot of spins for me. Again, it's basically Hemorrhage, but a little bit more raw. Not super different than their other recordings, but an awesome release. So I definitely recommend it if you don't already have it. Get CD, LP, maybe even a tape, I don't know. I didn't bother with the LP. I just haven't been collecting that many recently. There's really no point for me because I don't really have the space for them. Just more expense. Don't really have the time either. Saving up my pennies for Dead by Dog anyways, so that's really more important. And then trying to go to concerts this year and getting CDs just easier, you know. You can listen to them in the car, listen to them anywhere, store them. They're a lot smaller. I just don't really care as much about LPs, but definitely worth buying. You know, if you can, I think it's like $10. Probably not going to sell out anytime soon, but definitely grab your copy sooner rather than later. And next, from Tank Crimes Records, is Demo Medicale. So this is Impaled's second album, but it's the demo version. So just some backstory on it. I'm just going to straight up read what it says in the back. So sorry if you've already read this, but just so you know, it says this recording was made in early 2002. A few months previous to the recording session for Impaled's Mondo Medicale, which again, second album. The song Raise the Stakes was finished sometime between this demo and the recording for the album, therefore it's not present here. The song Gross Anatomy and Choice Cuts were excised to be included in the EP Choice Cuts as a way to conclude Impaled's contract with Necropolis Records. I'll mention more about that in a second. There are some notable vocal patterns and riff changes from this demo to the album's final form. And then it just says that the guys in the band basically forgot about it till the ex-guitar player Andrew Lamar passed them along in early 2022. So, you know, a couple years ago, 20 years since they had been recorded, and then he sadly had passed away just months later due to health complications from ALS. So this is essentially a demo recording of Mondo Medicale, and as they mentioned, you know, they had a few songs to round out their contract with Necropolis. And if anyone doesn't know, I've kind of heard this like second hand or third hand at this point. But basically, the whole thing with Necropolis Records is that them and the band don't get along, and the label who owns this music, first 2 albums at least, they're kind of holding it out, and no one can really press it because it's just extremely expensive. I think they wanted like, I don't know, what was it, like 15 grand, 25 grand? I don't know. Justin, again, Hell's Headbangers, told the story about it already. So this is kind of a nice workaround. So thank you to Tank Crimes for putting this out. And thank you for Impaled for caring enough to have this being put out, because some bands don't give a shit about their demo stuff and they think it sucks, even though that's the stuff they grew up listening to and liking. So sort of like, you know, when Impaled re-recorded their first album, except that kind of makes sense because, you know, if Necropolis owns it and they can't get it, then that's the only recording you're going to get. Like for me, that's the only recording I have, unless you buy the tape, which I think maybe Corpse Gristle put out, I forget, but I know Melanie Loves Death Metal showed it off. I think that's an original recording of Dead Shall Dead Remain. I have the newer version of it, so I know it's not going to be as good as the original, but at least I have some version of it, because again, the original is basically extremely expensive and it's never going to be reproduced unless it's bootlegged, which really fucking sucks because Necropolis is being a bunch of like douchebags apparently, again, from what I understand. So same with this album. So the first 2 albums, like they mentioned, the EP Choice Cuts, they're basically gatekeeping the shit, so probably never going to get it unless you buy the original or the bootlegged. So again, this is a great way to have a version of this, and it just sounds fantastic. I've never been too into Impaled. I know I would like them, but just again, the music isn't very easy to find for an affordable price. And then I haven't listened to any of the newer stuff, so again, if by some miracle the first two albums could get re-released, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, I'm going to spend some good money to buy them, and eventually I will. I just don't really feel like spending too much money where I could just buy something like this for like 10-12 bucks. So this is phenomenal. Again, if you don't have this already, this also came out on CD and LP. So there's two different versions of the record, two different vinyl colors. So if you're interested, grab those. Otherwise, at least grab the CD and you will not be disappointed. So those are two of my favorite releases so far, specifically demo releases of the year. Let me know what you think of those in the comments, and if there's anything else similar to this out there, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.